Hello, creators. So, I want to discuss mental health. Okay, so mental health awareness is very important. To be aware that maybe you're not as in control of your emotions as the next person. We are all unique, right? Okay, so just let me tell you from experience with mental health. So as you all know, if you've watched my other videos, I struggle with addiction. I mean, not so much struggle anymore, I have it under control. But when I was still actively using and I decided to go to rehab because of it the very first time, they took my street drugs away and gave me psych meds. It changed a couple times. They said that I had bipolar depression, mild bipolar depression. First it was PTSD, and then it changed to mild bipolar depression, and that's what I stuck with, that label, for 8 years. Okay, so trading the street drugs for the psych meds, I thought that I had to be on those for life. Like, this is my label, this is my box, this is what I am. But let me tell you, that's not always true. But also, so I'm trying not to say exactly who it was. One of my relationships, I'm not going to say whether it was an ex-husband or which husband, because I've been married twice. I'm just going to say one of my exes. Okay, I have to say it. It's my kid's dad. Okay. Because the examples that I gave my psychiatrist in rehab of my relationship with him fell out of control. Okay? So I would throw things at him. Like, he was poking me. He knew my buttons to push, and he would push them and push them and push them and push them. And I would just, like, explode. I didn't want to explain to him. I just wanted to shut him up. So I would throw things. But we had 2 little kids, okay? This is why I had to put him on blast. We had, they were young, babies still. One was 1, and when I'm doing these actions, and one was 3, 4 years old. Okay, so 2 and like 4 or 5 years old. They're 3 years apart. And so my oldest, my 5-year-old, was mimicking mommy and doing what I was doing when he would get mad, breaking stuff and, throwing these big, huge tantrums like I was doing. So I acknowledged that. And when I got put on the psych meds, I was totally willing to be on these meds to prevent my behavior, if this was the way to do it, for my child's sake. So my children knew, mommy takes medicine so she doesn't act this way, because it's not okay to behave this way. Because I didn't want my children behaving the way I was behaving in front of them, that I felt out of control while I would do those things. So let me explain. Sometimes people in your life could trigger you to respond in ways that are not healthy for you, which make you feel like you need meds. Okay? Because 8 years went by, and finally I didn't have any insurance. I didn't have the money to go to the psychiatrist, and I ran out of pills. And instead of freaking out about it, I just stopped them. Cold turkey. So after 30 days of really being aware of my behaviors and stuff and paying attention, I was dating this guy. And at this point, 8 years later, I'm already broken up with my ex. Been long broken up and healed over him. Already had a few relationships, okay? Didn't have outbursts, but I felt like I needed the meds to not have outbursts at that point. So when I'm paying attention during those 30 days, when they say that sometimes, oh, if you get off the meds, it can be really dangerous, it wasn't for me. Maybe because I was aware of it, I don't know. It's my experience. I don't know if it's because I was aware of it and I was paying attention or what, but let me tell you, this man and me got in a fight. It was like 30 days or 2 months. It was something like that after I was already off the meds. And it was one of our first fights, and it was pretty explosive for him. He was beet red, okay, yelling at me at the top of his lungs on the freeway. And I warned him 4 times calmly before I got as loud as he did. I warned him. I knew right then that I didn't need those meds, that I was not bipolar because I could control my emotions. It was the person in my life in that time currently that I got put on the meds and my behavior was bad, that I was responding in an uncontrollable way because of the energy that I had around me. So I'm just saying that really be aware of the energy of the people you have surrounding you. If you were on psych meds, really take a look within who you are as a person and how you act when you're around other people, and realize, because that stole 8 years of my life. I didn't want to create. I just was a zombie. I was still relapsing in between, but not a lot. I didn't need the street drugs as much, but I stayed on my meds the whole time. Another psychiatrist had told me that people make mistakes of getting off of their meds while they're using, or they relapse, and that causes them a huge distress and a problem because they can't get sober and bounce back from it quickly if they stop the meds, because then they have to get it back in their system again. If they stayed on the meds, it would not cause an effect taking those meds and a street drug. It doesn't cause a problem. Mixing alcohol with meds, yes, but street drugs, no, because it's a psych med. So to keep it in your system is better than to quit it because you relapsed. You do yourself a disservice because it's harder for you to get the meds back in your system and for you to get back into sobriety, and you'll stay in the addiction longer if you don't have the psych meds in you already. So anyways, moving on. My point is I lost 8 years of my life. Being on meds numbs you. It numbs your creativity. It numbs your feelings. It helps you control your emotions. You have none. My best friend died and I couldn't cry until 3 years later after I got off those meds. I didn't start grieving her and the others that I'd lost during that time until that time when I got off of those meds. I couldn't cry at my best friend's funeral. I cried at the funeral. What am I saying? I couldn't cry like I should have been crying is what I'm saying. And that was the only day I cried besides one other day. It was hard for me to go through the stages of grief, is what I'm saying, on those meds. She used to tell me when she was alive, you are the calmest person. You have all this chaos going on around you and you stay so calm. I'm just amazed, friend. And I used to tell her, I'm heavily medicated. I'm heavily medicated. You need to be aware of that. I am on some heavy prescription drugs. I was taking 10. I was taking 10 at one point. Yeah. Abilify, Seroquel. Seroquel I had to stop. But for like 5 years, when I finally got stabilized on the meds, and I had to be a guinea pig the first few years until I got on the right amount and the right kind. So I was a guinea pig, and you have to be really open and willing to share every couple weeks with your psychiatrist what you're experiencing, or you won't get on the right meds. Just to let you know, you have to be willing and open to share your experiences, everything that you're feeling on them, to make sure that they work, so you can just stay on some instead of going up and down and trying different ones. You want to get on the right ones eventually. And so when I finally did, it was Abilify, Trazodone for sleeping, propanol for anxiety. The Abilify made me gain 40 pounds. And that weight I gained within 30 days of taking it, and I held on to it the whole time I was on it for 8 years. And when I stopped, and 30 days after, I lost 3 pant sizes. That same amount of weight that I gained within the first 30 days of it, I lost within those 30 days of being off of it. Everybody thought I was on crack and like all smoked out and stuff. But really, it was just my normal weight coming back to me. It made me swell up. So that's another thing. You gain weight, which makes you depressed also. But me, it didn't, because I could have used the weight at that time in my life. So it made me feel better about myself, actually. But it also masked the fact that whenever I used and stuff, because I never lost weight, even if I was using or stressed out like I normally would. My body tells me when I'm losing a little weight, I'm stressed out. If I can't eat, I'm stressed out. But like, you know, it was hard to tell when I was on the meds. That's another thing. What else? So just being, this video is about mental awareness, and knowing yourself, and realizing that maybe this is just a time in your life that you need them. I am a firm believer that meds are meant for a reason. For maybe a time in your life when you're taking on too much and too much has happened, just to help you stay steady. But I feel like a year or 2, maybe 3, pushing it is enough. And then start weaning yourself, or getting them to help you with more natural remedies to wean yourself off of it. If you feel differently now, you got to be aware of your surroundings. Has things calmed down from the moment when you started the meds? Is there less chaos going on around you now? Is there less feelings of grief going on around you now? There's different reasons why you would want to ask your doctor. Always, you know, I did it without the doctor's permission because I couldn't afford it anymore. But I'm telling you, just be fully aware whenever you are having any labels of mental illness, because it's not set in stone. We are forever changing. We are forever evolving and growing. Even when I was a zombie, I was still growing. It just was, you know, slow and steady wins the race mode. So, you know, it was taking me longer to get where I needed to be in life. Don't let that happen to you. That's all I'm trying to say. And to bring some awareness that you do have control. Just be aware of who you are inside and pay attention. Pay attention to what's going on around you and who you're allowing into your world. Because I am a firm believer, because of my experience with the meds, that yes, they do work, but that you don't need to be on them forever. There's other holistic ways of doing things, and it really does steal some of your life. So that's just from my experience. Some people need them, really need them. You know, some really, like schizophrenia, it's very important to be on them, because schizophrenia grows. It grows into hallucinations. It's better to control that illness, so that way you can stay in full control and awareness of your behavior in your life, so it doesn't get out of control, because it does grow into hallucinations and to unlivable situations. So just be aware, but have faith that, you know, this is more for people that are labeled with lesser serious illnesses, like depression. You can kind of control depression if you just focus on always being happy and only doing things that you enjoy, staying in the present moment. But always doing things that you enjoy can keep you, and staying in the present moment, because depression is your mind is living in the past. Now, anxiety also. If you have anxiety and you're labeled with that, you're always thinking about an hour from now. You're always thinking about the future. You need to stay in the present moment, so that way you don't get anxious. You just take a deep breath. You feel your seat. You become aware of your surroundings. You can clap really loud, counterclockwise, clears energy, raises vibration quickly. I know it sounds weird, but laughing, just laughing, or even the act of smiling, even when you don't feel like it, can center you and take you from a depressed state or an anxious state. Like I said, I was labeled bipolar. That's just controlling your emotions. You don't have control over your emotions if you're labeled with that. So it depends on what level you are of that. But there are ways of controlling your emotions. I am not a psychiatrist. I do have a certificate in accessing mental capacity. So I can say if somebody does need to see a psychiatrist, or if somebody wants me for a life coach, if they're not capable of receiving information from me in a helpful way, that is why I got certified in that. But yeah, so I hope this helped, and I hope you enjoyed the video and me sharing my experiences with you. Please come back and check out my other content. If you think this could help somebody else, please like, share, and subscribe. And bye for now.